everyone, Mitch coming in from the Commander's Course studio. Welcome to the show. So on today's episode, I'm going to be taking you through the most popular 3-color commanders out there, one from each 3-color combination. As we get to Tark here, well, yeah, just 3-color commanders are on the mind, and you might be surprised with which ones right now are on top of the game. Let's jump into them. So we're going to start things off in reverse order, not by color combination, but by the number of decks built around them, their popularity. In 10th place, we've got Kaikar Wind's Fury, the Jesskay commander that is at the top of the list for Jesskay. Sorry, Jesskay, but you're at the bottom right now. 10,768 decks to its name, though that's still pretty good, obviously. A ton of decks built around this commander, and for good reason. A 3/3 Bird Wizard with flying for 4 mana in Jesskay. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, create a 1/1 white spirit creature token with flying, and sacrifice a spirit, add red. So this is a commander where you can build it in a lot of different directions. I mean, you could literally just take every single anthem out there that is a non-creature spell, like, enchantments, artifacts, etc., and just chuck them in the deck, and it's probably going to work out pretty well for you. Because, yeah, you can go tall with a lot of creatures, you can go Spellslinger, you can go Storm, you can do a lot of different things with this. This is a commander that is kind of like a combination of Talrand and Bergi in a way, where you're like, okay, yeah, extra free mana, going wide with creatures, lots of fun to be had with this. And of course, again, just, yeah, anthems could be fun too. So definitely a very good commander. Again, one that is quite popular. Jesskay, not the most, popular color combination out there apparently, but we'll see if Khans changes that, or Tarkir Dragonstorm, I should say. But yes, this is a very cool commander. 10th place finish right now, but top of the Jesskay color combination. Next up, leaping up quite a bit when it comes to the number of decks built around it, at 15,726, we've got the Esper commander at the top of the Esper list, Sidar Jabari of Zhalfir, a 4/3 human knight for 4 mana in Esper. Eminence. Whenever you attack with one or more knights, if it's in the command zone or on the battlefield, draw a card, then discard a card. Flying first strike, deals combat damage to a player. Return target knight creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield. So this is a knight tribal commander that, again, has that eminence. Something that I never thought Wizards would bring back, but it's got eminence, so essentially just a free additional value. Just for playing the commander, you don't even have to get it into play to get that value. That being said, you're probably going to want to, because when you do, well, again, and you hit an opponent, you're getting knights out of the graveyard and right onto the battlefield. And maybe if you give this double strike, you're getting 2 out instead. This is a commander that gives you free value throughout the game. Just essentially, drawing cards, discarding cards for free. And then also, yeah, cheat some things into play as well. There's a lot of very powerful knights out there. Again, top of the list right now in Esper. We'll see if Tarkir changes that at all. Next up, this one used to be a lot higher up. Still at the top of the Jund pyramid, essentially, though. 15,890 decks to its name. Korvold, Fae-cursed King. In my opinion, one of the most pushed commanders of all time. A 4/4 Dragon Noble with flying for 5 mana, again in Jund. Enters the battlefield or attacks, sacrifice another permanent. Whenever you sacrifice a permanent, put a counter on it and draw a card. Yeah, this is pretty bonkers, pretty crazy. It is absolute value. And again, you can sacrifice absolutely anything. This doesn't specify non-land. It doesn't specify non-token. It doesn't specify anything. So, yeah, you play an Evolving Wilds, you sacrifice it, cool, your commander got larger, and you drew a card. More importantly, drew that card. I mean, this, counter synergy can be great because you can just unexpectedly turn your commander into a 3-shot very easily, 2-shot, yeah, and then even a 1-shot KO on players without really doing all that much other than what you were already going to be doing. Your turns can be incredibly long because you are just sacrificing things. You're casting a Harrow, you're sacrificing an Evolving Wilds, you are getting a bunch of treasures out and sacrificing those, and all of a sudden, you just drew 20 cards in a turn and your opponent's heads are spinning, which is probably the reason why this one maybe has gone a little down over the years when it comes to its popularity, but still at the top of the Jund pyramid, 15,890 decks to its name. Moving on, the commander that used to be at the top of everything, the most popular commander ever at one point, Muldrotha the Gravetide, still incredibly popular though, 16,648 decks to its name. In Sultai, the number 1 commander. A 6/6 elemental avatar for 6 mana in Sultai. During each of your turns, you may play a land and cast a permanent spell of each permanent type from your graveyard. So, being able to just get things in your graveyard, and now all of a sudden, it's kind of like a second hand for you. With a limitation of, one of each different permanent type, but still, that's a lot of things that you can get out of your graveyard, essentially, again, and again, and again. Just even like a Sakura Tribe Elder, right, is absurd value. Some absurd value from that. And of course, some potentially obnoxious cards as well, like Spore Frog. Everyone loves Spore Frog, right? But yeah, basically, okay, Fog. All right, next turn. Let's get it back out for 1 mana. All right, someone going to attack me? Fog. Yeah, it is absurd value. It is absurd potential, and it is just absurd in general. Again, used to be at the top of everything. Now still at the top of Sultai. 16,648 decks to its name. Next up in Abzan, we've got Frodo and Sam, 17,206 decks to its name, skyrocketing in popularity, taking over Abzan. Frodo Adventurous Hobbit, let's go through this one first. A 1/3 Halfling Scout for 2 mana in Orzhov, partners with Sam. Vigilance, whenever it attacks, if you gain 3 or more life this turn, the ring tempts you. Then if Frodo is your ring bearer and the ring has tempted you 2 more times this game, draw a card. So a lot of value to be had from there. And of course, Sam can help you with that life gain. Sam Loyal Attendant, a 2/4 Halfling Peasant for 3 mana in Abzan. In Selesnya, the combination is Abzan. Partners, of course, with Frodo. At the beginning of combat on your turn, create a food token. Activate abilities of food you control cost 1 less to activate, making them much more affordable to utilize again for just 1 mana instead of 2. Meaning that, getting that 3 life is going to be quite easy. Being able to just get that repeatedly is great. So it's a life gain commander that also gives you card advantage too, and can utilize some really cool food synergies. This combination, a very potent one, and potent enough to be at the top of Abzan with 17,206 decks to their names. Moving on, an older commander that has withstood the test of time for quite some time, Arcades the Strategist, a 3/5 Elder Dragon with Flying and Vigilance for 4 mana in Bant with 17,703 decks to its name. Whenever a creature with Defender enters the battlefield under control, draw a card. And each creature controlled Defender assigns combat damage equal to its toughness rather than its power. It can attack as though it didn't have Defender. Basically, walls here, walls there, walls everywhere. This finally was the home for walls, and it absolutely took off. This is absurd amounts of card advantage. Again, it is on ETB, meaning that essentially, yes, when you play them, essentially, you will be drawing that card, but also on top of that, when you, say, mass blink them with like an eerie interlude, hey, how many defenders just came into play? Oh, 6? Cool. All right, I'll draw 6 cards. Good for me. On top of that, of course, you have incredibly efficient creatures, because those defenders typically have very low power, but that doesn't matter, but incredibly high toughness. I'm talking about like 2 mana, 7 power is very easy now. Well, toughness equals power. And being able to just be incredibly aggressive with that and just swing right away, yeah, you're going to have a lot of value with this throughout the game, again, that card draw and just smacking your opponents with walls, which is just pretty funny to think about too. It's like, okay, my wall goes over there and just falls on top of you, and you just took 10 damage. Congratulations. Arcades the Strategist, a very cool commander, one that has, again, withstood the test of time over the most recent years. Still at the top of Bant, 17,703 decks to its name. Next up, if there's one thing that I've learned since Ixalan came out, is that Magic players love dinosaurs. Absolutely they do. So Lazy Pants, Pantlaza, Sun Favored, 20,000 decks. 20,132, I should say, to its name. 4/4 dinosaur for 5 mana in Naya. Whenever it or other dinosaur enters the battlefield under your control, you may discover X, where X is that creature's toughness. Do this only once each turn. Yeah, that is basically, kind of like Cascade in a way, but also maybe even a little better in some ways too, where you're just getting so much value off of it. And, again, when your dinosaurs come into play, Yeah, it's only once each turn, but you can do it on your opponent's turns as well with some blink effects potentially, or some flash creatures. So being able to take advantage of this and get a lot of free extra dino value, what's not to love about that? And many Magic players out there absolutely love this one. You can also maybe build some very weird off-the-wall kinds of decks that maybe I have too with this one as well. But yeah, we're just cheating miscellaneous things into play, and the deck is kind of strange, and it's only got like, 3 non-land cards, but still, you can do dinosaurs with it as well. Pantla's a Sun favorite, incredibly popular no matter what you're building, most likely dinosaurs, maybe a weird deck instead like the one I built. That being said, taking over Naya, most definitely, 20,132 decks to its name. Next up, the King of the Dragons. When it comes to Temur, we've got Miriam, however you say that, Sentinel Worm, a 6/6 Temur Spirit Dragon for 6 mana in total, flying Ward 2. It didn't need the Ward 2, Wizards. Whenever another non-token dragon enters the battlefield under your control, create a token that's a copy of it, except the token isn't legendary if that dragon is legendary. Yeah, that is absolutely absurd. Double up every single one of your dragons. Again, on ETB, not like ETB if you cast it. No, on ETB. So blink effects can actually use and abuse with that. On top of that, though, hey, yeah, I don't care if you're legendary. I still get a copy of you. And by the way, that copy, if I've got some maybe populate effects, I can get more copies of it. So some of the most powerful dragons out there, like a Niv Mizzet, you're like, all right, you know what? Let's get some extra copies of Niv Mizzet Perun, because why not? Now, anytime anyone's casting any instant or sorceries, I'm just pinging everything, drawing so many cards. It's so much incredible value. Again, dinosaurs, incredibly popular. Dragons, even more popular. And this commander is just over the top. Temur, it has taken over 21,729 decks to its name. Speaking of taking over, though, from Lord of the Rings, we've got Sauron the Dark Lord. Yeah, definitely took over Grixis. I mean, there's been some popular Grixis commanders out there, but this one takes the cake. This is a 7/6 Avatar Horror for 6 mana in Grixis. Ward, sacrifice a legendary artifact or legendary creature. Whenever opponent casts a spell, amass orcs 1. Whenever an army you control deals combination to player, the ring tempts you. Whenever the ring tempts you, you discard your hand. If you do, draw 4 cards. There is so much going on that your opponents, again, will have to probably reread this every single time anything happens. That being said, yeah, a massive way to, well, discourage your opponents from actually trying to do anything to this, because you gotta sacrifice something legendary or you can't actually deal with it. And if you don't have that, then basically this has hexproof in a way, which is lovely for you. That being said, opponents casting spells gives you value. Again, at Mass Orcs 1, it is building up that army, going tall versus wide. That being said, if you say have a free sacrifice outlet and maybe some ways to get value off of that, maybe like a goblin bombardment kind of thing, you can get absurd amounts of value off your opponents casting any spells essentially. That being said as well, hey, your armies, they can have the ring tempt you. Also, if you got other ways to make the ring tempt you, great, because you can just start wheeling essentially, drawing up to 4 cards. You got ways to take advantage of discard, ways to take advantage of draw, maybe even get extra draw off of that too, like a Teferi's, Ageless Insight, getting, double that and just saying, oh, I draw 8, cool, good for me. Yeah, there's a lot of value to be had with this massive commander. So much going on, and so many decks built around it. Again, at the top of Grixis right now, 24,693 decks to its name. Good enough for second place in this competition. But at the very top of the list, most definitely withstanding the test of time, Edgar Markov. Yeah, you can't take out the king. 26,812 decks to its name, a 4/4 Vampire Knight for 6 mana in Mardu. Whenever you cast another vampire spell, if it's in the command zone or on the battlefield, create a 1/1 black vampire creature token. First strike, haste. Whenever Edgar Markov attacks, you put a counter on each vampire you control. Yeah, vampires are an incredibly popular tribe, and Edgar Markov really put them on the map. This is a commander, again, that has that eminence, that free value no matter what you do. You just already start off with value. You play a vampire, you get a vampire. So all of a sudden, having a lot of low-to-the-ground vampires is an incredibly beneficial thing. Go wide so quickly your opponent's heads will spin, and then all of a sudden, if you do get this out, you pump that army too, on top of all the other amazing vampire synergies you have access to in these colors. There's a lot of reasons why this one is the most popular 3-color commander out there. Again, taking over Mardu, 26,812 decks to its name. the King, Edgar Markov. And with that, this episode is coming to a close. Comment below with your thoughts on it. And of course, as always, thanks again and have a good one. This show and episodes like this one are possible thanks to viewers like you. If you're looking for an easy way to help support this show, make sure that you like, share, and subscribe. Also, hit that bell notification icon so you don't miss any new episodes. You can also go check out our playmats and other merchandise at thecommandersquarters.com. Another easy way to support this show is with our TCG player affiliate links. So whether you're buying a deck or individual cards, you can use this general link right here or one in the description. And the final way that you can support this show is by supporting us directly by becoming a patron. There are many benefits to being a patron, and I truly couldn't do this without all of their support.